I'll see. Yes. I can see that the little circle thing is flashing.
Yes.
Oh.
I can see that the little circle thing.
Don't need to hear me echoing in the background of me, do we? So, we are going to continue where we left off with the forms. I'm just going to shut my bedroom door because there's a lot of noise going on in the house and no one needs to hear that. 2 seconds, guys. So many things going down. And then I've got the chat there on my phone. I've got my earphones in. It's very cold today. I'm not going to lie. So, hopefully you can all hear me. And if you can't, I'm pretty sure someone will tell me that they are not able to hear me. But it looks like it's all going well. So we're going to continue on with the case book for the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, because this is how we get to the bottom of the truth of the matter. So on June the 16th, 2015, while in Waukesha County, Wisconsin, I assisted Waukesha County Sheriff's Department serving a search warrant on Cherry Street. And this is the residence of Stephanie and Charles Goldammer, and their 7-year-old son, Quinn Goldammer, and their 26-year-old son, Nick Godejohn. And you can see they've got him down there as 26. He doesn't act like he's 26. His mental age is actually seemingly, when you talk to him, I wouldn't say it was 26. This is also the residence that Gypsy has been located at. And the purpose of the search was to locate any and all evidence with reference to travels to and from Springfield, Missouri, as well as evidence referencing of the homicide of Claudina Blanchard. Now, prior to the search, a briefing was conducted in which the Greene County Sheriff's Office Detective Sergeant A. Maholey and I briefed the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department detectives on items which were of interest. And as a result of the processing of the crime scene in Springfield, Missouri, and interviews with Nick and Jip Jip. Now, it was agreed the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, acting under the search warrant issued in their county, would collect all of the evidence and package evidence as collected it and turned it over to the Greene County Sheriff's Office. Yay! You can't hear me. Woohoo! Hi, Karen. The scene was processed and the evidence was collected by several Waukesha County detectives. And they processed the residence. And this was at Nick's home. All the evidence collected was secured by the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department until the 17th of June at 2015, to which time it was released to Sergeant Maholey and I for transport back to Springfield, Missouri. The evidence remained in the transport vehicle at all times, and at no time was the vehicle left unsecured. I'd be concerned if it had been left non-secured, right? Because it's evidence, isn't it? And then on the 17th, it was removed from the transport vehicle. So nothing untoward there, all pretty straightforward. This is a supplemental report now. This is a conversation, a summary of the statement from Nick's stepdad, dad. I'm assuming we're going to hear from his mother. Now, this is the interview with him. It's been authored by Hancock himself. Now, it says here that he made contact with Charles, and there's his date of birth. God, he's only 1970. Jeez. And advised him of the reason for them contacting him, and he agreed to speak with him. The interview took place at the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, and the interview was video recorded and logged into evidence. Charles is the stepfather to Nick Godejohn. I thought that was the case. And the following is not intended to be a transcript of the interview, but a summation. Now, we did see Nick's mother's interview on YouTube. That is on there, and we'll play that. But I haven't seen the stepdads. I've only ever seen the mum. Charles had stated that Nicholas told him and his mother, Stephanie, that he was going to Missouri because he wanted to get Gypsy and bring her back to Wisconsin because Gypsy had been kicked out of her residence and was living in a homeless shelter. He denied Nicholas was having any type of drug or alcohol abuse, and Nicholas collected Social Security benefits, and he used to work for Little Caesars Pizza in Wisconsin. However, he quit Little Caesars because he was not allowed to take a break every hour. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? In what job can you take a break every hour? If you find that job, let me know and I'll share that out. But it's not a job where most places you get a break every hour. Charles said that Nick was on disability because he had autism and Asperger's. Now, Nicholas was not close to anyone and he had no friends. So we know that Nick was collecting a disability check because of his autism and his Asperger's. We have to say that that's perhaps why he thought he could get a break every hour. Yeah, it's good a job if you can get it. Even when I'm doing this, and this is, what I do on social media, this is my platform, I do what I do. I don't get a break every hour. Yeah, I can have a drink while I'm doing, but I'm not actually having a break. I'm constantly yapping or going through content with you guys. So even when you're doing stuff at home, you don't get a break. It's just like me saying, right, guys, it's been an hour now and I need a break. Just give me 10 minutes and just sit there and wait while I have my break, and then we'll roll on. I think you'd all leave alive. So Nicholas had received some money from Gypsy through the mail. Charles did not know the exact amount of money he had received from her, but he thought it was around a few $100s. He knew this because he observed the cash that Nick had on him. On June the 9th, Nick had called a taxi cab to pick him up at the residence in Wisconsin to take him to the Greyhound bus station. Nicholas called and told Charles that he was in Springfield, Missouri, and this was on the 9th of June, but he could not remember the exact time, but he knew it was late at night. The first time Charles said he spoke to Gypsy was when she came downstairs to make some macaroni and cheese. So she was quite happy to go downstairs and make some macaroni cheese in a house that's not hers, not her home. She's just there as a guest. The conversation was very short, and they talked about how she had made the macaroni wrong. Bearing in mind she had a milk allergy, and I believe with macaroni cheese there is an element of milk involved. Am I wrong? But I think there's some dairy in there. Come on, Gypsy. Come on now. Anyway, so they made the Gypsy and Charles had talked about how her mum had cooked macaroni, and this was where she learned how to cook it. It was a very short conversation between the two of them. Charles said that he was freaked out by Gypsy because she was wearing a black wig with some red tint in it. Which personality was that? Charles told me Gypsy had no problems walking up and down the stairs in the home, and she never needed assistance or help in doing anything. So she completely threw away that I need to pretend to be not working very quickly. Now, interestingly, she didn't need help doing anything, and then he says they were constantly having sex and Charles had to tell them to be quiet. So the D must have been fire then, because obviously they were making a lot of noise. That's weird. I'm not being funny, but when you're in someone else's home and it's your parents no less, and if you were going to do anything, you would be a bit more discreet, right? Not there. Gypsy obviously likes to be heard. Perhaps she was after the stepdad as well, maybe. Listen to me, I'm fucking Superwoman or something. He remembered receiving a package in the mail, and the mail is delivered to the residence with Nick's name on it. The package arrived on Saturday, June 13th, and the package was put on the kitchen table, and he told Nick that he'd had the package addressed to him. Charles said that he could not remember much about the package, but it was in an envelope of some kind, and Gypsy quickly told Charles that she would take it, and she took it upstairs. I bet she did. He said that he never looked in the package and had no idea what was in it. And Charles said Nick plays a lot of video games and as a rule keeps himself, as if she had her wig on. Yeah, I know. Charles did not have any further information and the interview was concluded. So his interview wasn't that long. It probably is longer than what is written in there, and probably the most out of her entire time there. He took away from it the fact that she wore that wig, that she cooked the macaroni cheese wrong, a package came and she took it, and they were constantly doing things in the bedroom and just making sure everyone in the house and the whole street heard what was going on. I was contacted by Megan Pack via phone call about Facebook information which she thought might be important involving Gypsy. Pack stated she was a staff writer for a magazine called Creepy Catalogue, which was based out of St. Louis, Missouri. Pack stated that she had anonymous sources sending her articles and comments about Gypsy from Facebook, and the Facebook picture depicted Gypsy wearing a red and black outfit and a knife to her mouth. That's Ruby, isn't it? The information was already obtained by Greene County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division via search warrants from Facebook, and Pack stated that she would send me updates, but she had nothing further to add at this time in the report. Sorry guys, just muted that while I brought the mic a bit closer, because I got the microphone on and I give that 20 minutes to load. Hey Donna, you've just missed the grossest. What the hell? Oh, don't start being a pain. Come on now. This thing never goes as quick as I do. See what I'm having to deal with? I need the better Wi-Fi in it. Let me just see if that's going to load a minute. Oh, let me scroll this thing across the screen as well. Okay, that should work better. Wait, why is this not loading up? This is not being funny. Okay, that's that. Okay, you're going to make me refresh, aren't you? And then I'm going to have to do... Go to take page 37. So don't forget, guys, if you are in the live, if you can hit the thumbs up, that would be fantastic. If you can hit the notification bell as well, that is going to notify you when I'm going live. And obviously, just make sure if you're here that you're subscribed, because YouTube does actually unsubscribe people because it's rude. And I don't know why it does it, but it does it, which is really annoying. This is my elevator music. Hope you're enjoying my elevator music, innit? Let's keep it going. Okay, so another supplemental report. Hancock again. I made contact with Mike Hatzenbuehler, who was the assets protection manager for the Walmart store, Kansas Expressway, Springfield, Missouri. And I made contact with Mike and advised him of my reason for contacting him. I verified with Mike that the Walmart store did sell Kevin Van Dam KVD knives. So I requested the video. So this is obviously how they've obtained footage. I requested the video from Mike from the fishing aisle, which is where the KVD knives would be located for sale. Mike stated because of the large amount of video I had requested, it would take time to copy the video, and he would notify me when it was completed. Mike stated he did have some sales of the KVD knife. However, after reviewing the videos from the stores which sold the KVD knife, it was evident it was not Gypsy or Nicholas on the videos. So this is how they've obviously excluded, included, or whatever. But she did steal the knife, I believe. The videos were dated May 29th. 2015 at 15:53, and another video was June 1st with an unknown time. On July the 9th, 2015, I received notification from Mike about the videos being ready. I obtained the videos and began to review them to try and locate Chip and Nick purchasing the KVD knife, which was the same brand used to kill Dee Dee. And he was unable to determine the date and the time because the video did not display the information. But I did not observe anyone who I could identify as Chip or Nick in the videos. Mike signed a business record affidavit. The business record affidavit was put with the case. And there you go. That's what the business affidavit record looks like before me. Undersigned, etc. I am the custodian of the records of Walmart, etc., etc. And that's just kind of what the documentation. They're so thorough. They're so thorough in their documents and everything, but they're just such bad, poor management of the case. Dun, 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 dun. And then a supplemental report again. I received an email from the Walmart.com investigator Ricardo in reference to his findings about the sales of the KVD knife. I reviewed the email and did not observe a KVD knife being shipped or ordered by Gypsy or under any of her alias. That's because she stole it. Nor was there any record of Nicholas ordering the knife. There was no address showing the KVD knife being sent to Missouri. And there was one KVD knife sold to a Beth Ravello at Woodhouse Avenue, Ripon. And they contacted this Beth person and who stated she'd purchased that knife from Walmart through the internet, but she stated she did not know Gypsy or Nick. And these are like obviously the Walmart orders. It tells you how they've been ordered, regular order, pickup order, that kind of thing, order number. It doesn't actually say what they are. iPhone app, and obviously that's German stainless steel fillet knife. Ooh. These ones say what they are. Emails. So they have to go through all of those. So you can see the list there, and that's how they've excluded a physical purchase. Further supplemental report from Hancock. I received the DVD of Gypsy's phone conversation from the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department while she was incarcerated in their facility. The DVD was logged into evidence. I reviewed the conversation Gypsy had with her family. When Gypsy would speak to her family, she would call them by their relative relationship, such as aunt, uncle, etc. She told her family she could not talk about what happened as per her attorney, and I heard Gypsy call the female she was talking to Aunt Celeste, and Gypsy spoke of how she was innocent and she got messed up with someone very awful. And this is what she told her Aunt Celeste, and she wanted to live with her family in Louisiana when she got released. She was obviously thinking, I'll be out in a day or so. Gypsy placed a phone call to a number on June the 22nd, and Gypsy was talking to a female she called Christy. She told Christy she could not talk about what happened, and Gypsy told Christy to tell her dad she was innocent and she wanted to know if her dad still loved her. So basically, she didn't have any relationship with her dad. I'm pretty sure that if what we have come to understand about the relationship with Dee Dee and Gypsy and everything else, and the fact that the dad wasn't involved in her life, Dee Dee probably told her that he didn't love her. And the one thing she's done is made contact with them. And Gypsy told Christy the things that had been said on the news and media were not true. Okay, so obviously when people are getting all the documentation and everything else and that, and they're looking in and reporting on the crime, obviously nothing is true. Gypsy asked Christy if she got out of jail, could she come and live with her? At this point, I probably would have said, Christy probably wouldn't have wanted Gypsy there because I don't think she wanted Gypsy in her life anyway. And now she's got Gypsy, Ken, and a baby. That's what they call karma, Christy. Although I think you're probably going to snatch that baby, aren't you, and be in charge. Anyway, Gypsy placed a phone call to the number Gypsy star. Oh, I've read that bit. Gypsy started talking to Christy and then got a male on the phone who she called Daddy. Daddy. Make her sound younger. During the investigation, it was discovered that Rod Blanchard was Gypsy's biological dad. Gypsy and her dad talked about what jail was like. Yeah, it's not fun, is it, Gypsy? And if she knew if she was going to be extradited to Springfield, Gypsy's dad told her he cared and loved her, but was confused and had lots of questions. I bet he didn't ask half of them, though, did he? Gypsy would not talk about the case with her dad. Gypsy talked about how she wanted to build a relationship with her dad, and she told him she wanted him to know she was innocent. You two up to in the chat there? Daddy? Christy? A phone call was placed on the 24th of June. I wonder if that number's still the same. Should we call it? When the call was reviewed, the female's voice did not sound like Gypsy's voice. I'm on a high right now. It was the voice of an unknown female who was talking to an unknown male and trying to get bailed out of the Waukesha County jail. Oh my God. There was nothing else of evidentiary value on the DVD pertaining to the homicide. While reviewing the Greene County Sheriff's Justice Center jail phone calls from Gyp, I heard another female talking about Nicholas. Gypsy made a statement to the female, unknown female's name. I never asked him to be that gruesome. Right, hang on a minute. I never asked him to be that gruesome. Referring to Nick unaliving Dee Dee. She never went in the room. And she claims to have never seen any of the photographs or anything. So how does she know it was that gruesome? Maybe I'll do a battle dressed up as Gypsy. Oh my God. Yeah. Like, come on, Gypsy. You've just said you've never seen, well, you haven't just said it. You maintain that you've never seen any of the photos. You've not seen the crime scene. You never went in the room. I'd beg to differ because I don't think Barney levitated his way to Dee Dee's head. And Nick doesn't remember Barney. But just for the purposes of getting through the information, we'll take your word for it. But you've just now said you've never asked him to be that gruesome, so you genuinely wouldn't have known, would you? Referring to Nick unaliving Dee Dee. In another phone conversation Gypsy made, referring about Dee Dee, I was desperate to get away, referring to getting away from her mum. The caller ID showed the number of, and the name on the caller ID showed that to be Rod Blanchard. The call was placed by Gypsy on July the 24th. So at this point, Rod's probably like, oh yeah, she's my daughter, and she didn't do it on purpose, and she needed to get away from it. I understand. I'll forgive her. On July the 7th, I applied for a search warrant for a DNA saliva blood sample from Gypsy Blanchard. The search warrant was granted and signed by the Honourable Greene County Judge Jones. I made contact with Gypsy Blanchard at the Greene County Jail and advised her of the reason for me contacting her. I presented Gypsy with a copy of the Greene County search warrant and told her we would be collecting a sample of saliva and blood under the authority of the search warrant. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Oh my god, I'd probably bloody get a ban or something for harassment and bullying. I'm currently in a bit of a battle with TikTok currently over a comment that was removed, and it simply said Gypsy should be in prison. And the comment was removed, and then there was a strike given when I appealed it. So I got really shitty and I contacted TikTok through the app before I went through my management, and they apparently escalated, and it still sat there as a bloody strike. So I emailed them and I'm like, what the hell's going on? If I turn around and said the Menendez brothers should remain in prison, or Lucy Letby should be in prison as part of a conversation, there ain't no way you would have given that a strike. At the end of the day, Gypsy is a murderer, and I have an opinion, and that is my opinion, and it's not harassment and bullying. She's been convicted of second-degree murder. I think she should be in jail. That is my opinion. And you giving me a strike for that? I don't think so. So I suggest you sort this mess out, because if not, I'm going to complain and I'm going to tell everyone on the app. I'm not certainly commenting anymore because I'm sick to death of comments getting highlighted. And I wouldn't have minded, but it wouldn't have even been a strike until I appealed it. But not that it should be a bloody complaint anyway. I said you're protecting a murderer on the app and it's doing my head in. So I did complain. I've complained, so my management have also escalated it. I said I'm even thinking about moving over to YouTube on a permanent basis, because I said these strikes affect my videos and everything, and I need to be able to earn money from my videos. So sort it out or I'm off. And the last thing I heard was, I'll appeal at my end, so I'm just going to leave it with them. I don't take no messing. I'm not having that. I don't care who she is. She's a convicted murderer, and that is my opinion. She belongs in jail still. That's not bullying and harassment. She's put herself out there. She's on social media. She's a convict. She's on parole. She should be in jail. And that's my opinion. That's that. And I said, I don't even get this mess on YouTube. All they'll do, if they don't like a comment themselves, is they'll block it. They won't show it, but I don't get penalised for it. I said, the commenting on this app's getting ridiculous. You're all a bit sensitive over there on TikTok land. Anyway, we carry on. I'm just not taking the mess. I'm not taking the mess, Donna. I'm just not having it. I am not having it. Anyway, so they got some samples from her left cheek. Then they introduced the swab into her mouth and began scraping the left side of her cheek. I counted to 60 seconds, removed the swab and put it on the outside of the cardboard swab container to dry. I then removed the gloves and placed them into a bag and logged the evidence. I repeated the same process. Perhaps they should have done a DNA to find out who her daddy actually is. I repeated the same process with the fresh gloves on her hand to the inside of her right cheek, and then all the rubbish was put in the trash and logged into evidence, and the swab after was then dried and logged into evidence. So apparently Rod doesn't have the genetic issues the micro deletion that Gypsy has. And as far as they know, they didn't get it from Dee Dee. And the rumour going around is that one of the doctors who was basically in all the locations they were could be the dad. On the 9th of July, I applied for a search warrant for a DNA saliva blood sample from Nicholas Godejohn. The search warrant was granted and signed for by the Honourable Judge Cordona. I made contact with Nick at the Greene County Jail and advised him of the reason for me contacting him, and I presented Nick with a copy of the Greene County search warrant, and I told him that we would be collecting a sample of saliva and blood under the authority of the search warrant. So they did all of that. They did the left cheek first, and then the swab in the mouth, and then scraped the left side of the inside of his cheek. They count 60 seconds. They removed the swab and put it on the outside of the cardboard swab container to dry. Gloves are removed, put in the bag to be logged as evidence, and they repeat the same process with fresh gloves. And they do the right cheek, and then everything is put in the bin. And that's just the process. So it's good to know. It's good to know. I hear all the rumours on this app. It's not an app, is it? I hear all the rumours. Well, I suppose it is on the app. There is an app. But yeah, that's what I've heard. I need to get a picture so we can do a comparison and see. But apparently, she does look like this doctor quite a bit. But Rod apparently doesn't have the deletion, so who knows? I responded to the Missouri State Highway Patrol Crime Lab to retrieve the KVD brand knife used to murder Dee Dee to take photographs. He collected the knife from the Missouri State Highway Patrol Laboratory and returned to the Greene County Sheriff's Office Evidence Processing Room. I put down fresh butcher block paper before I start to open the box, and I put on the glove and opened up the box to retrieve the knife. Once the knife was free from the box, I removed the black in colour sheath and began taking photographs of this KVD knife without the sheath. After I took my photos, I then repackaged the knife and returned it to the Missouri State Highway Patrol lab, and I locked the gloves and zip tie and the butcher block paper into the evidence crime scene trash. So they do quite a bit, don't they? You can see they're quite thorough. Now, on July the 14th, 2015, I was contacted by Lieutenant Marty Mahey about a witness statement Gypsy had filled out while she was housed in Tower 2 at the Greene County Justice Centre. Lieutenant Mahey stated he wanted to give me a copy of that statement, and I collected the copy of the statement, and it was put with the case. I read the statement Gypsy wrote to Greene County Sheriff's Corrections Office Officer M. Adkins. The statement Gypsy observed inmate Amanda Flores using the toilet when she heard what sounded like a plastic bag crunching. She observed Flores putting a bag into her VJ, and when Gypsy asked Flores what was in the bag, Flores did not tell her, and Gypsy observed Flores trade another inmate. Gypsy did not know the name of the other inmate that she traded commissary with. What she observed to be marijuana for some commissary. So she basically witnessed some dealings going on, some marijuana dealings. Obviously, that would be prohibited in jail, and she grasped them up. That's not your best move in jail, Gyp. That's not your best move. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to have a bond and be good friends. Perhaps you thought it was going to get you out of jail. I don't know, but why would you grass up another inmate? Gypsy. I saw Flores using the toilet, and I heard a crunch bag sound. I saw her put a small bag in her VJ. She was probably jealous that she was putting something in her VJ and she wasn't, because we know she's highly sexed, didn't she? But anyway, so then she asked what that was, and Flores said nothing, and then she pulled the bag out again and traded some weed for commissary to Elba, and then gave some to Rodriguez, a cellmate. Rodriguez took it, and then something ate in heart, got high. Then they went to sleep. Flores offered me some, and I declined the next day. And I wanted to talk to an officer, and told the officer Babouin what happened, and kept quiet until Monday. Karen until Monday, when a cell check was done. Weed was under her mat, hidden in paper. Why did you spit your tea out? She's grassing up her cellmates for having marijuana. Jesus, take the wheel. Gypsy, what the hell? You don't do that in jail. That's the sure way to get yourself, executed by your inmates and friends. Another supplemental report. On the 3rd of August, I was contacted by the Greene County Sheriff's Office about a letter they'd received from Gypsy to be mailed to a Rachel Ann Ray Miller. Correction Officer Willis stated he was advised by the Greene County Prosecution Attorney Dan Patterson that they had the letter turned to me and logged into evidence. It's not easy to read, it's really tiny. I obtained the letter from the correction office and signed a chain of custody and reviewed the letter and logged in the evidence. The letter was dated the 28th and contained information about how Gypsy was overwhelmed when she found out Rachel and Ray tried to write her a letter. She talked about how Nick was her ex-boyfriend and how something is making her out to be a monster. The media is making her out to be a monster. She is a monster. When my part was small in this. So at this point, she's still not taking accountability for what she did and what her part was in this. Yet she felt as though she was taking a lot of the blame for the murder because you organised it and orchestrated it, and you basically talked a lad with autism and Asperger's and all that, took advantage of him, got him to commit the deed for you, and it was brutal. So she's not taking accountability here. Her part is small, and she was taking the blame for the unaliving. Yes, I'm in trouble. I'm a part of this horrible act. Gypsy talks about her life with her mother, and everyone thought it was not, and with her mother was not what everyone thought it was. No shit, Sherlock. She talked about how she was not sick and she was very healthy. So she's just admitted she's not sick again and that she is very healthy. And she claimed to not remember what had happened because of the medication that she was on. She talked about that might be that marijuana. And she talked about the relationship she was building with her bio father and about how she would be able to stay with him when she got out of jail. So she's clearly thinking she's getting out anytime soon. But it didn't contain anything pertinent to the case. Hi, Jenny. Right, Donna. You know it. I know it. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what this is. Can't believe she grassed up her mates, her inmates and that. So that's just the chain of custody form. I'm not sure really what that is, the envelope. And then I can't read that. Hang on, let me see if I can zoom in. I can't really read that very well. Oh, it's it's hard to read it, but it's just talking about what her ex did. That she didn't her part was small, the media is being mean about her, etc. It's really hard to read that, guys. Yeah, that's really hard to read as well. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's saying. She talks about Mike Stanfield. My lawyer. I need a lawyer. Mike Stanfield. If you have any questions, he can answer them. Believe God. I don't know. It's really hard to read. And it's not even that untidy handwriting or nothing. But it says love Gypsy Rose. Okay, so I need a lawyer. Yeah, you wouldn't do that in prison. I received an inmate to staff request from inmate Amanda Flores, who was incarcerated by the Greene County Justice Center on unrelated charges. Flores had stated that she had information about the homicide Gypsy was involved in. So this could be seen actually as she's pissed off because Gypsy grassed her up for the marijuana and now she's coming with some information. I mean, I'm not saying that's what that is, but you could see that. Because I don't think if Gypsy had pissed her off, I mean, maybe this is true, but because Gypsy pissed her off, she's given a statement. So Flores stated she had information about the homicide Gypsy was involved in. So he made contact with Flores and escorted her to an interview room, and the interview was video recorded and logged for evidence. And the following is not a transcript, but a summation of the interview. Flores says she wanted immunity for telling me what she heard Gypsy say when she was housed in the same cell. I told Flores I could not help her out with her case and I could not promise her anything. Flores said that she was not a snitch, but Gypsy is, but she knows a lot about Gypsy's case. Flores said Gypsy was creepy smart and that she does not want to see Gypsy get away with it, referring to the murder. Flores continued to tell me she did not want to give up any information about being helped in some way. Oh, she did not want to give up any information without being helped in some way. Flores stated before Gypsy came to jail, she supported her. Flores asked if she had sought Nicholas out, referring to Gypsy seeking Nicholas out to unalive her mum, and Gypsy told Flores, I probably did. Flores began to tell me some things that Gypsy had told her about the murder, and she mentioned how Nick had cut his finger from stabbing Dee Dee. Flores told me Gypsy told her she cleaned up the blood from the bed to the bathroom using the carpet cleaner and wipes. And during my interview with Gypsy, she told me several times that she did not go into her mother's room after she was dead. Gypsy told Flores she cleaned up pretty good, and Flores said Gypsy would talk about missing her stuffed animal, but Flores could not remember what kind of stuffed animal it was. Gypsy tried to use one of Flores' friends to pass a note to Nick, and Flores got upset with Gypsy and told her she was not going to use her friends to pass notes. And Flores admitted to me that Gypsy had told on her for having a misdemeanor amount of marijuana, but Flores said that this was not the reason she was talking to me. Flores gave me two inmates' names, Michaela Lutz and Maria Rodriguez, and had said she wanted to talk to me. Flores and Gypsy's attorney went to Louisiana to visit Gypsy's family, and Flores mentioned how Gypsy had told her on more than one occasion while they were housed in the same cell together that I'm going to get away with this, referring to the murder, and Gypsy told Flores what Nick was saying when he stabbed Dee Dee. How did she know what Nick was saying when he stabbed Dee Dee? Because she wasn't allegedly there in the room. Flores said Gypsy told her Nicholas was saying you were going to be dead for you are going to be dead before this happens, while he was stabbing Dee Dee. So how did she know that? How did she know that? No, Flores said Gypsy had told her Nick was saying you're going to be dead before this happens, while he was stabbing her. Flores said Gypsy started talking in the cell one night to Lutz and Rodriguez about how she put the knife in Nick's hand and told him to go kill her mother. Doesn't shock me. And Flores told me that Gypsy told her that she'd turned the aircon down to 40 degrees to preserve her mother's body, clearly been reading a book, and then cleaned up the blood, including blood in the bedroom, but said that she never went in the bedroom. Which bedroom are we talking about? Flores said that Gypsy told her she went into Claudine's bedroom after she was dead and took $5,000 out of the drawer from a table beside her mum's bed. And Flores said the money was in a zipper type bag. So there we go. That doesn't shock me. Are we on repeat? I thought we'd moved on. Thanks, Shin. We're not on repeat. We've moved on. That looked like Gypsy's writing, yeah, from before. But in here, apparently, this woman is saying that Gypsy went in the room, which doesn't shock me. Are you shocked? She had nothing further pertinent to the murder, and she was escorted back to the jail staff. I received an inmate to staff request from inmate Flores, who was incarcerated on the Greene County Justice Centre on unrelated charges, and she stated she had information about the homicide Gypsy was involved in. We've seen that. Okay, this is a repeat. Oh, hang on. So, anyway, this is contact with Mariah Rodriguez, who's incarcerated at the Greene County Justice Centre on unrelated charges. I advised Rodriguez of the reason for me contacting her, and she stated the only thing she knew about Gypsy was that she had a letter to Rachel and Ray about how her part in the unaliving was small, which, planning it and all that is not small, clearing it up ain't small. I returned Rodriguez to the jail staff, and the interview was recorded and logged as evidence. I made contact with Michaela Lutz, who was incarcerated at the Greene County Justice Centre, etc. Lutz told me Gypsy talked to her about the case when they were housed together in Tower 2 on the Greene County Jail, and the following was recorded and logged as evidence, but this is a summation. So, according to Michaela, Gypsy told her about how she set the thermostat to 40 degrees to preserve Dee Dee's body, to keep the smell down, and she knew that she was going to be leaving the state. Michaela talked about how Nick had cut his finger. So this again is the same. Gypsy was hiding in the bathroom while he was committing the murder. She talked about how Gypsy had cleaned up the blood from her mother's bedroom to the bathroom with carpet cleaner and wipes, to which she said she never went in there. Pinocchio, why is my nose growing so big? Pinocchio. Anyway, we move on. So she went on to talk about how Nick was going to grape Claudinia or Gypsy. And she talked about how Nick was into INCST, new information. And Michaela said Gypsy told her that she was raped vaginally and behind in the other area by Nick after the murder. Of course, she said that because she said it at the interview when she threw him under the bus. And we recall Nick saying that he couldn't actually finish himself. Michaela said Gypsy was not innocent and she was a sick person, and that Gypsy had gone into her mum's room after she was done and cleared up. She also said that when Nick came into the house, Gypsy and Nick had kissed and Dee Dee was already asleep. Was she asleep or was she deceased? Because there's people on the internet that might think she was no longer alive. Anyway, moving on, allegedly. Nicholas went over to the chair where there was a box of spring cleaning items and picked up a knife. Lutz did not have a description of that knife, but it was by a box of the cleaning supplies, probably near the Scooby-Doo cereal, and Nicholas picked up the knife and then took off. She then carried on and said that the knife was mailed to another state, but could not remember which one that they mailed it to, but knew it was where Nick had lived. Gypsy took $5,000 from the nightstand in Dee Dee's bedroom and said that there was actually $10,000 in the nightstand originally. However, Dee Dee had put some money down for a new vehicle, and it should be noted in a contract between Dee Dee and the Central Bank of Ozarks, which was located for the purchase of the 2011 Nissan Cube. The contract indicated $5,000 in cash was put down. Now, Gypsy apparently told Michaela after the murder that she and Nick called a cab to pick them up, and they went to the North Glenstones somewhere to a hotel. She knew what bloody hotel. She didn't know if she told them the hotel, but she said, we know she knows the hotel. They rented a room for the night, and the next day they went to the bus station, and we know they couldn't get a ticket for them both, so they both went back another night. Gypsy had told several female inmates on the tower too about how Michaela was strong aiming for her phone time. Oh dear. Michaela said she never used Gypsy's phone time and denied the allegations, and Gypsy told Michaela if she and Nick would have had a baby girl together. Gypsy told Michaela if she and Nicholas would have had a baby girl together. Nicholas wanted to have sex with the daughter because he was also in. Oh, come on, Gypsy. Come on now. And Gypsy had cried about Nicholas, but she never cried about her mum's death. Lutz said that inmate Amanda Flores had told Gypsy about how she planned different ways to unalive her mum, some of which she planned to kill her mother by strangling, grape poisoning, and jabbing. Lutz said that Gypsy told her that if she'd paid for everything, and the bus ticket and the hotel room for both nights and the cab's fees. And this person then filled out a statement to confirm all that information. And then obviously this is just the statement that was written, which they have to do, obviously, because it's going to be pertinent to the case at some point. So there you go. That's the statement in writing and signed by Michaela. And then you've got that there. And she also signs about the Facebook post. On August the 9th, they made contact with the manager at the Days Inn to request photographs from rooms 226 and 227. They got 2 key cards to access the rooms, and both rooms were not rented at the time. And they went in and took photographs. Both the rooms were unoccupied, and they took several to complete a photograph log. They then applied for a warrant for Nick Godejohn's cell phone number records from the Sprint Communications, and the warrant was sought because this was the cell phone number for the Kyocera flip phone Nick had been using when he had committed the murder. The search warrant was faxed to the Sprint Communications, and obviously they have to do that to get access to the bits of information that they want from these devices and from the providers. They also applied for a warrant for the Yahoo account records, and this was sought because it was believed the records contained information related to Dee Dee's murder. And they got signed off, and this is what they have to do. So oh my God, here we go. So the Yahoo accounts were for 2 Forevermore, one at yahoo.com, Twin Flame Soulmates at yahoo.com. So I wonder if she's gone to the Twin Flames. Oh my God. And obviously that was that search warrant. And then again, supplemental report saying the search warrant for the 4 thumb drives located and recovered in Nick's bedroom. Obviously they wanted the information, text, all that sort of stuff, and they have to do that. Thumb drives were located in the bedroom with computers, etc., and they were used for communications by the pair of them. So again, it's just something that they have to do to be able to access all of the information to assist with everything. Now, if you don't know what about the Twin Flames is an actual cult. It's a cult that's up and active as we speak today. That's why I giggled, because, Twin Flames soulmate and everything. Should probably start to write the book with them. Again, on August the 30th, they received a letter from a CD from Sprint Communications on Nick's cell phone records pursuant to the warrant. The search warrant was sought because the phone number was associated with the Kyra flip phone that he'd been using during the murder. Now, the letter was a response from the communications provider, and they reviewed and logged into the evidence, and the CD contained several phone numbers, called and longitudinal and latitudinal info, but there was no new information on the CD. So, this is the interview. How long is the interview with Nick? That's quite lengthy. Okay, so what I think I will do is we will pick up with Nick tomorrow, because it's 8:30 now. I'm a bit late, but I wanted to come on and I wanted to give you guys something. But as you can see from this stuff, there's been a lot of information, there's been a lot of investigation, there's been a lot of warrants. Now, obviously, I still, Gypsy grassing up her inmates for a bit of marijuana is a new one. That wouldn't have done her any favors. Did that mean that the information that they had regarding Gypsy was true, or was it revenge, or was it true? And for revenge, they wanted to put it out there. They wanted to get something from it, obviously, but the information is there. Now, we've all suspected that Gypsy may or may not have gone in that room. I personally, in my opinion, believe she went in that room, and that's how little Barney got there, because Nick doesn't remember the Barney, we know that. And I personally, I don't know, the fireworks are going off again. Sorry, guys. But I personally feel that, she was in there, and there's just things that you pick up on, like things that she's, saying that he said, that, she must have been in the room. She's never going to admit to being there during the murder, because she ain't yet admitted to being there or going in there at all afterwards, and she denies that. And the thing is, she maintains that Nick locked her in the bathroom because he reached his hand round the inside of the lock and locked her in. Well, pray tell how that works, because I'm still kerfuffled on that one. So the main thing that we get from all of this so far is that Gypsy is not telling the truth in most cases and scenarios that we are watching and listening to. So it is, always going to be interesting to see what comes out and who says what. But my personal belief is she did enter that room, even if it was to just clean and put the Barney there. But some people would have it that Dee Dee was already dead when Nick got there. That being said, though, even if she was or had been deceased, or at least dying, because there was something that Gypsy had said about something her mum had said about not hurting her. Well, why would she be saying to Gypsy about not hurting her? That just makes me think that perhaps Gypsy was hurting her mum leading up to this. But even if she was on her way out, Nick still went in and did what he did. And, and I'm not saying that he should be out free, because I don't think he's in a place where that's even possible at the moment. But I do feel that he was denied a fair interview during the police interview. I feel he was denied a fair trial. And I even think Gypsy should have had someone with her during her interview. But this all worked out really well for Gypsy in the end. And this is why we want to try and get to the bottom of everything and the truth, and fish out the facts, and, push aside all the rubbish. Because at the moment, this woman is running around on the internet, and it's like, well, this is how I got away with it, basically. And we are seeing all the information. So how is it that somebody who is clearly blatantly lying, none of the main media wants to pick up on that? Trashy TMZ just run with the story that they want to run with, the pregnancy, the baby daddy, and all that. But they don't actually want to talk about the facts and point out the problem here. They just continue to perpetuate, let's make Gypsy famous. Same as the Vile Files. Really disappointed in these types of people, where if they're going to bring someone on, they should be asking them the tough questions, and part of their ability to be on the show should be to answer the tough questions. And she is just not answering them. So, and I think part of the reason she avoids it is because she knows that she will trip herself up. She's already tripped herself up so many times. And so many of us on social media are seeing it. But why is the media not seeing it? And this is why we're going to continue to go through this information. And I'm doing it in the order I feel is best. We'll probably go through, after we get done doing these, we'll go through the text messages. We'll then have a look at the autopsy for Dee Dee, and then we'll have a look at the trial. And then perhaps we'll scoot through some of all of the stuff that has just been unfolding since Gypsy's release, and where it went wrong, and where all the inaccuracies are, and see where people are. But I do think people are seeing Gypsy for Gypsy. So that is where we are. So tomorrow we're going to pick up and we're going to continue, and we're going to start with the interview from Nick Go to John, which was conducted on the 16th of June in 2015. We'll try and get through the rest of this document, and then we'll start on the text messages. Depending on how we do for time, how long the statement is, it depends on if we get onto the text messages tomorrow or not. But I'm going to shoot because the dogs are barking like mad. But I will be back on my TikTok very soon. Probably once I can get the dogs to settle down, probably around 9:30, 10ish. Where we will cover a case over there. I'm not sure yet which one I'm going to do. But we will be live over there on After Dark Coffee and Crime. So don't forget, guys, please do make sure you've hit the subscribe button, the like button, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the streams when they are on. So it's been good to see all of you, and I will see you guys very, very, very soon on TikTok. Night. Bye, guys.